We'll go ahead and start off talking about it. We'll go match by match here. The very first match of the night was Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. This was a good physical match. I thought Bobby Lashley, before the match started, Brock Lesnar walked around the ring. Bobby Lashley came out of the ring and came up behind him and pushed him into the steel steps, which Brock sold really well with his knee. And throughout the entire match, it kind of put Brock Lesnar at a disadvantage with his knee. Sold it fantastically the entire time. Bobby Lashley, for the most part, was in control the whole match until he at one point at the end of the match, he had him in the Hurt Lock. And it looked like Brock was going to pass out when he jumps up, kicks off the turnbuckle, and ends up with a quick pin on Bobby Lashley for the escape victory. What did you think of the first match of Crown Jewel here?
You know, it was really interesting to me because what they did right that I didn't think they would be able to do is make Brock look like he was helpless. Was not expecting Brock to win that match in any way, shape, or form. They pulled it out to where Brock was the victor, but also making Bobby Lashley look strong as hell, and just kudos to WWE.
Yeah, they made Brock look like he won by the skin of his teeth there. It was interesting. I was thinking like, oh, why isn't Brock Lesnar just jumping into the ring like he usually does onto the apron, and he walked around, and so it was a little bit contrived, but not much. It was enough. It was like, oh, Brock's being a little cocky and arrogant heel, and he's just walking around the ring. So Bobby Lashley was like, nope, I'm gonna take it to him. And a little bit of heelish himself, getting him from behind and shoving him to the steel steps, but it created a scenario where you believed Brock Lesnar was in trouble for the entire match and might even have trouble getting him up for the F5, which he did get an F5 in relatively early, but even that was like laborious, like, oh, my knee, which Brock did a fantastic job selling that knee. We can go ahead and move on to the next match. Damage Control, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. I always want to mix the last names up on those. Of Damage Control would defeat Alexa Bliss and Asuka to win back their tag team championships that they lost on Raw. Obviously, now we can talk about the segment before the match right now if you'd like, or we can save that for the Bray Wyatt segment later.
I actually have a theory that ties us all together.
Okay.
So, if you think about, very bizarre that Asuka and Alexa Bliss would win the titles on Raw and then drop them 6 days later.
Yeah.
So my theory is, before the match itself, the interview segment prior, the Wyatt 6 logo pops up on the screen, clearly freaks out Alexa Bliss. I think she was a little distracted throughout the match. Even though they didn't really show it in the ring, there wasn't an in-ring psychology about it.
No.
I guarantee you this is how WWE is going to try and play it going forward.
Well, you also had Nikki Cross come in and interfere in the match, which allowed Damage Control to get the victory. So, which was great to see again, Nikki Cross rather than ASH, and her being a heel and seeing what could happen there. Do you think she'll team up with Damage Control? I mean, we've got the Survivor Series War Games next. Do you think she'll be a part of that team?
I mean, that's a possibility. I'm still hoping for the Naomi and Sasha.
As
We'll
heels?
get to that later. Yeah, like I said, man, I want them coming back as heels.
I don't think
I
there's
want
any
them
way
to
that
go
happens.
on a tirade against the fans. I want Naomi to be full dripped out in black and red for the bloodline. Like, give me the heel Sasha and Naomi. Have them join Damage Control. Nikki should be worrying about other things right now that have nothing to do with aligning with Damage Control. Nick, I want that, crazy Nikki back, where she's just ripping shit up. She's her own person. She's uncontrollable. Give me that Nikki back.
Well, I think that Nikki could definitely come back, and while she might not be a part of Damage Control, I think she'll definitely team with them for War Games next month, and you'll have one other partner as well for the women's War Games match. On the heel side, as far as Alexa and Asuka, I think they will continue this feud with Damage Control going forward. Again, I think that'll go into War Games. I think Bianca Belair and Bayley, obviously, on the other end. You got Bianca Belair, Alexa, Asuka. Maybe this is where Sasha comes in and all this stuff, which is a separate topic that we'll get to later. But, yeah, maybe that's where Sasha and maybe even Naomi can come in. Speaking of scenarios with women that we're expecting that did not happen today, the Judgment Day would defeat the OC after more interference from Rhea Ripley. Lots of fun references by Michael Cole on commentary in this match that I know had you creaming your pants. But, you know, a Bullet Day reference, a reference to Carl Anderson being the never openweight champion, and a few other things that had a lot of people excited online, Tony chief among them. What did you think of this match?
Well, first off, I really enjoyed the Bullet Club references. For what it was, you know, we feel the same way. One of the very few things we feel the same way about. 6-man tag matches are so overused when it comes to professional wrestling, AEW in particular. But this time it worked. You know, no surprise, Rhea Ripley being the kind of wrench in the OC's plans. They said something really interesting on commentary that I kind of have to agree with. Rhea Ripley is the mastermind of the Judgment Day at this point.
Yeah.
No way it's Balor at this point.
And I'm all for that,
Club,
by the way. I'd be all about
Bullet Club
that.
references. The Bullet Club references right now, though, that was top-notch to me. I loved every second of it. I had to watch it later than what you did. You got to watch it live. And you brought up the Never Openweight Championship, and I was like, just don't spoil anything for me. Just don't spoil anything. And then, of course, I got to see that happen, like, live, and I was just like, froze up for a second, rewound it, played it back again. Took me a second to kind of register in my earballs that were fucking referencing Bullet Club on WWE television. Spent 10 years trying to act like it wasn't a thing. To go as far as to edit out the Bullet Club logo on an episode of Edge and Christian's show of awesomeness that reeks of awesome. That now it actually fucking exists.
Well,
Bullet Club, it's real, just like the t-shirt says.
The logo, obviously, they don't have the copyright for. So they had to blur that out. That's a little bit different. But to see a reference in a historical fashion, they can bring it up as much as they want. And to see that reference there was nice. And obviously, a directive from up top, the new people in charge, person in charge anyway, that, yeah, let's bring up the history. People know this stuff. Why try and hide it from them? They know it anyway. So let's use it. It'll make them happy, and it can just add to our story rather than trying to hide it. It only makes sense. Where do you see it now? Rhea Ripley had a hairstyle that on Twitter, and Michael Cole said on commentary, was in memoriam of Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix.
The late great
Phoenix. Beth Phoenix.
I'm...
Is she the one that AJ talked about a couple of weeks ago to even the score here and get someone in to help them with Rhea Ripley? Or,
you know, I think Edge and Beth versus Finn and Rhea is going to have to be its own thing down the line. I'm just blanking on any female that has ties to both WWE and Bullet Club who's available right now. Because there's not.
The only other person I can think of is on the other show right now, and she's going through her own story, And that was several months ago when Rhea and Liv Morgan split up their tag team, and you had a little bit of an Judgment Day and OC battle back then. And with the OG Judgment Day with Edge, and Liv Morgan was the one that joined them there. Or it wasn't the OC, it was it Ray Dominic and AJ Styles or something along those lines? Or Edge?
It was AJ and Finn with Liv Morgan.
Oh, that's
Remember
right.
The honorary club
Finn
member
was
with
over
the too
there.
sweet.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So, it could be, but
I don't think that's going to happen.
She's going through her own thing.
Yeah.
No.
But that's the only connection storyline wise I can think of. So I think Beth Phoenix is kind of the one.
Oh fuck! No, that wouldn't make sense.
Who? Give me a thought process here.
I thought Kelly Barbie Blank was Doc Gallows, which by the way popped when they said Doc Gallows when he was coming out. It was like a shoot on-screen wife or work on-screen wife when he was in New Japan, or one of them. He had like two different ones. They like flipped Barbie Blank out for somebody else, but I don't see that happening. I don't know. This is perplexing, but I hope it's not Liv Morgan because I kind of enjoy this Queen of Extreme thing she's going through right now.
Yeah. So am I. I don't want her to get bogged down in something else. Let's keep her going with this, and hopefully can raise her back up to where she can have a real good run with the title, rather than this sort of middling to run that she just had. Up next, we had Braun Strowman versus Omos. Braun Strowman would win here again by the skin of his teeth. Though this was a different match from the Brock Lesnar-Bobby Lashley match. They made sure it was different. Rather than having two big hosses going at it, it was, believe it or not, a David versus Goliath match with Braun Strowman, of all people, in the role of David. You asked me ahead of time, man, should I just skip this match? Because I'd seen it before you. And I was like, no, it's actually not that bad of a match. What did you think of it?
I thought it was decent. It's not in any contention for match of the year by any means.
No, but, not every match has to be.
I thought there's certain tropes in professional wrestling that piss me off. And when you try and talk about the size of somebody by showing their hand on somebody's face, that's one of them, because fuck, my hand covers most people's faces, and I'm only 6'2". That does nothing for perception. However, what did do something for perception for me was the way they were filming the face-off between Braun and Omos in the ring. Like I told you in our text messages, it's very reminiscent of Andre versus Hogan at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The way they played it up and everything, you literally believed that Braun was the David in this situation. For what it was a decent, fun little match. I have a new nightmare in life, which is being yelled at by Omos, because the way he was shit-talking Braun the entire match was like, this is funny, but then you realize that he has the voice of Darth Vader without the robotics, and it's intimidating.
Yeah, I thought they screwed the pooch a little bit. I liked that they put MVP with him for sure, but I thought they screwed the pooch a little bit with him at WrestleMania and then WrestleMania Backlash when they had him wrestle AJ or Bobby Lashley, but they were never going to have him go over Bobby Lashley. So I thought I understood the draw of the match and why you might want to book that for WrestleMania, but then if you're not going to have him go over this guy that you're trying to build up as a monster, then what are you doing? Why are you booking this match? And I think it's somewhat similar here. Omos was off TV for a while after Triple H took over, and I think they hit a little bit of a reset button, and they started having him do squash matches, even fairly recently, leading into this match against Braun Strowman. I think it's a little bit of the same, but at the same time, Braun Strowman's just returning too, and you don't want to knock him down. So if you're going to book this match, which maybe shouldn't have been booked to begin with, this was, I think, the best way to do it. Omos looked like a monster, but Braun Strowman, just with the fact that he has more experience, was able to get in one big power slam and get the victory. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next match, the Tag Team Championship match between the Brawling Brutes and the Usos. The Usos would win here and retain their titles. What did you think of this match?
Unfortunately, this was a match that I was jumping around through.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to make, time to get on here, and it's on my list of things to go back and watch once I got here, because from what I could tell, this was one hell of a fun match. However, I'm not going to lie, I am more excited for the Usos versus New Day next Friday.
Yeah.
Just every time New Day versus Usos, take my fucking money.
I saw something, and maybe I'll go look it up real quick. There was I saw something on Twitter just before we started recording that one of the Usos might have been hurt in the match. And
okay, I think I know who got hurt, but it wasn't during the match.
It was Jay.
Yep, okay. It wasn't during the match. I know exactly where he got hurt. We will talk about that in the main event.
Oh, wait a minute. That's an old article that I just clicked on. Huh. Ooh. All right, it was Jay, and it was a broken wrist, it looks like.
Oh,
shit. He's going to undergo a scan for a broken wrist. Which really sucks, because we have that match with the New Day advertised for SmackDown next week. Plus, just everything that's been going on with Jay and Sami Zayn has been so fantastic. You really hope that he's not out for very long.
Yeah. I thought he got hurt in the main event.
That's entirely possible. I didn't see what you're talking about, but that it may have been the main event. Because he was out there for that too, obviously.
We'll describe it when we get there.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the next match. The last man standing match for the Raw Women's title. Bianca Belair would defeat Bayley in a match that involved a golf cart. They've been used a lot lately on the other channel. We got that here, and they've been used on both channels. They were golf carts were a big pandemic thing.
But they're still going strong in AEW, and AEWs are better and faster. Changed my mind. That was this one
looked a little rickety, yeah.
This golf cart was a goddamn Austin Powers bit.
But what did you think of the match overall?
It was decent. I mean,
yeah.
My mind goes back to like 2016 Last Woman Standing matches. You know what I mean? Where it was a little bit more brutal, a little bit knockdown, drag out. Of course, because they were in Saudi Arabia and titties equal Satan for some reason. They couldn't wear what they normally do, so you couldn't actually see the bruising like you would have. So maybe that was a part of it being like weird for me. But goddamn, if you're a dude with a big package and a pair of underwear, they'll let that slide all day. Anyways, I digress. There was like a lot of aspects.
You can't be tempting men with the evil boobs, man. Can't be tempting them.
Dude, I know. But that snake anaconda, that trouser anaconda, all day, go for it.
There's no such thing as gay, because gay is evil, and if you're gay and if you're attracted to that, then you have bigger problems. But if you're, we can't be having the women, with their alluring, tempting body, putting bad thoughts into the men, innocent men. But go ahead.
We need to move on because you're about to get a full fucking rant on Saudi Arabia. Anyway.
To their credit, they've lightened up on some things. If you'd seen the first Crown Jewel shows and the first Saudi Arabia shows, they were wearing baggy shit, and then they had to wear T-shirts over their stuff. And it's gotten to the point where, okay, just the bodysuit's fine, even if it is tight. But hopefully it continues to get better. And that's the one good thing I will say about this, about Crown. You know, the good side of having shows in Saudi Arabia is hopefully you're getting our culture out there, and hopefully that can have a positive influence on the culture as a whole, as well as, you know, it's not like the people, you know, whatever you want to say about the government of Saudi Arabia and the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a lot of those people still deserve, you know, they don't deserve to be held back from certain things either. Not everyone over there is terrible. But
no, they're definitely not. But you're forgetting that this is the same country that masterminded 9/11, and we're taking fucking blood oil money to put on a fucking show for their people, most of which are forced to attend these shows. So,
all right, we'll go ahead and move on. Up next, we had the Bray Wyatt segment, and look, I love Bray Wyatt, but I have issues, two-pronged issues with Bray Wyatt overall. Not just this current run that he's in, but his presentation overall is that it's, A, as WWE always does, they overproduce it. And B, he's a little too out there. And sometimes it really works. I loved the segment on SmackDown last night, or 2 nights ago, where it was just a little backstage thing, and I sent you a message, I think, but I never got your response from that. Where it was just a backstage segment, and he's talking about how he hates to be interrupted, and literally some like staffer walks in, just some grip or something with a box in the back of the shot, and all of a sudden the camera goes off, and you hear like a producer go, "Oh, hey, we're live," and it sounded like Bruce Pritchard to me, and going, "Hey, we're live," and you know. Now Bray's all mad, and because he just got interrupted, and he's like, no, it's fine. You acknowledge that there's a producing team back there, and there's a camera, and all this stuff, and no, follow me, let's go talk to this guy. And you can see that Bray Wyatt's just barely holding back this anger and whatever's seething inside of him. It was great, except for the WWE overproduction where they put music into it, which was just, and they added these little weird, you know, the little Firefly interstitials, and that ruined it for me.
Maybe when he gets angry, he can fucking control radio waves and shit of that nature, and that's just what's coming from his brain, is that fucking logo and death in skulls at all times.
Oh, God, I hate that.
But it's pro wrestling. We talked about it last week. Pro wrestling is a myriad of things. Whether you like all of it or you don't like some of it, or you have a select bunch.
Don't get me wrong, it's subjective, but I hate that directly supernatural stuff. I love creepy and weird and sadistic Kevin Sullivan stuff back in the day. Even the Undertaker stuff. I didn't like it when he could summon lightning from the sky. I thought that was dumb. But he, for the most part, especially in the Ministry of Darkness days, was great. That was just like a dark, evil cult. It wasn't really directly, really supernatural. So...
Time out. Blowing a whistle, fucking 15-yard penalty, throwing the fucking flag. You just said Kevin fucking Sullivan. A dude in the 70s and 80s had power and strength from the devil himself. So much so, through the late 80s, early 90s, he controlled a fucking zebra unicorn, a guy who used to be a shark but still might be a shark.
I am not extending that. No. You don't.
In a goddamn cave where there was a midget and a wheel that just spun to make a fucking deal. And for some weird reason, Andre the Giant's son wanted to hang out there too.
I was not talking about that run with, and I'm forgetting the name of the particular group that you're talking about, and I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of them. Probably because I've tried to push it out of my mind. But yeah, that was horrific. And somehow...
It was like the dungeon.
The dungeon... Yeah. Was it the dungeon? Not the Dungeon of Doom.
I thought it was the Dungeon of Doom.
Maybe it is the Dungeon of Doom, yeah. Something like that. And they did come out of that later. Kevin Sullivan, he still had that little creepy vibe. But it was just him and woman. And then you had the whole Chris Benoit thing. And for all the stuff that makes you think of these days. It was really good at it in its time. It's hard to watch today, but
Does it make you think Kevin Sullivan did it?
no, not at all. All right, let's get back to Bray Wyatt. What did you think of this promo at Crown Jewel?
I really enjoyed it. There's more parts to it that I definitely think are allegories for mental health.
Oh yeah,
Just like looking further into it. I'm really starting to like the Uncle Howdy character. At first, I was like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" But now I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to understand the things he's saying. I don't think the Fiend is dead. I don't think that's a character of the past. Yeah, man. Just if you listen to what Uncle Howdy was saying to Bray Wyatt in the ring, it definitely feels like there's going to be that switch where it's no longer going to be Bray Wyatt that we're getting. It's going to be parts of the Fiend. It's going to be parts of the Eater of Worlds. It's going to be parts of whatever that weird mask from the Black Phone is. I think we're going to start seeing shades of all that, and it's going to be influenced by Abby the Witch and Mercy the Buzzard and Ramblin' Rabbit and Huskus the Pig Boy.
You know, I saw something very interesting, and it was a side-by-side, and I'm trying to see if I can find it. It might have been Sean Ross Sapp, but I'm not positive on Twitter. It was a side-by-side of Uncle Howdy and that mask and the way it was made, and Bray Wyatt's real-life uncle, Barry Windham. And it was pretty darn close, which I got a kick out of.
It's also, the weirder part to that is it's also takes influence from a movie in the 70s that was a B-horror movie, and I forget what the name of it is off the top of my head, but the main character, the main villain in that movie, looks identical to Uncle Howdy as well.
Yeah, let's see here. Here, I got an image here. Let me bring it up in just a minute. Open the image. All right. Let's go over here. Take a second to bring this up. An image of an older Barry Windham and Uncle Howdy, and you can see the similarities for sure right there. Though you could argue that just might also be the fact that Bray Wyatt himself looks like Barry Windham, and they're shaping the mask to look like Bray. So that could just be kind of a coincidence based on the fact that they have similar faces. But it's definitely a fun thing right there. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the next and final match.
No, time out. We skipped one there, Huss.
What did we skip? I'm looking at everything right here.
McIntyre versus Cross.
Oh, you know what? I did skip right over that. I went from Damage Control and Asuka and Alexa right to Judgment Day and OC. So that steel cage match was way back there. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. The steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross, where Drew McIntyre would escape just before Karrion Kross could escape due to perhaps a mistake by Scarlett. What did you think of this match?
You know, she's won Kross so many matches as his Oracle. It's about time she cost him one. I'm happy with the way this match ended. I hope this is the end of this rivalry. Jesus Christ, if I get another fucking Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre match, I'm going to jump dick first into a wood chipper. But, only because Scarlett, there'd be so much there to just grab onto after seeing her. You know what? I don't need to explain myself, okay? But, yeah, the whole pepper spray thing, the match itself, the submission hold that you just thought, holy fuck, is McIntyre actually going to go out right now? Like, I thought for a steel cage match in 2022, it's as good as we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was fine. I always have a little bit of an issue with WWE steel cage matches with the whole escape thing. because you have the Hell in a Cell now, so I get right now that you have Hell in a Cell as a thing, and that's the cage where you get locked down in, even though you can escape from that too half the time. But escape as a condition for winning in a steel cage match was always a little weird. But fine, I can handle it if you got to scale the cage to get out. But the door is just so dumb to me, and especially like, why would anyone ever try to scale the cage if the referee will just open the door for you? So, but I like that they used that here. It was an interesting wrinkle to use that here. I was almost hoping for maybe an old school, maybe Drew would get his head bashed in with the steel cage door. You know, do a little, go a little old school, world class. You know, that's how they got. Well, hey, you can go WWF. That's how they played up a feud. Oh, I forget who, with Bruno. But was it? No, he broke his back. Anyway. You know, but those were all bloody things, and I guess you can't really do that. But here you had the nice thing where Drew McIntyre just barely beat Karrion Kross because of Scarlett. That was fine. That was fine. All right. Now on to the main event. Logan Paul challenging for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. What did you think of this match? Start with you.
I'm going to say this now. My opinion has never wavered. It has never changed. If you go back to our post SummerSlam show we did, I said Logan Paul has all the potential in the world to be great.
I think we even said similar stuff in the WrestleMania live stream way back. That was the first live stream we did. So.
Yep. Because I remember after the WrestleMania live stream, I was shocked as hell because I thought there was no possible way that Logan Paul was going to be a good performer in the ring. After seeing this match, and after seeing Jake Paul's involvement in the match, and seeing the way Logan Paul's clique sold like hell, they sold their asses off. Maybe the Paul brothers are made for WWE. Not discounting what Jake's doing in boxing right now, but maybe they're made for WWE.
To a certain degree, the WWE is kind of made for them. Like, you know, they're good at entertaining people and putting on a show. There's no doubt about that at all. And that's what WWE does. Maybe for someone like me who likes, you know, more old school pro wrestling, it's a little too much. But I agree with you here. Logan Paul was great. Roman Reigns was obviously leading this match, but full credit to Logan Paul here. And they got me. After that frog splash, I mean, there was the frog splash onto the table, which was mind-blowing that he, with a phone in his hand, by the way, got from the...
And the video came out.
Yeah. And from the turnbuckle all the way to the announce table was just ridiculous. He hit it clean. It's not like he hit the edge or he hit it perfectly clean. That was incredible. But then the frog splash in the ring, I was sold. I thought the match was over. I thought, holy shit, Logan Paul's champion. So that near fall got me completely. So I loved the match right up until everything at the end happened. And I'm not saying Roman Reigns should have won clean, but it was too much schmoz at the end. It started to get a little big. You had the Usos come out, but then they dealt with hit the people that he does his impulsive podcast with, and that they got super kicked and sold pretty well. And they got thrown around too. The Usos weren't easy on them by any stretch, and then you had Jake Paul come out. Then you had Solo come out.
Nope.
No.
Jake Paul then comes out after that whole thing happened.
Was it Jake Paul first?
And this is where I think Jey Uso got hurt. because the Usos were standing in the ring. Jake Paul came out. Jake squared up with Jay and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jay came running at Jake first, and I don't think that he was able to pull his punch quick enough, but he made full contact on Jay's face, and Jay went down hard as hell. If you go back and watch that replay, so that's what I'm thinking. He probably hurt his wrist, because just the way he went to go catch himself when he was going down, it looked really awkward. Jimmy got a little bit of a better pulled punch, and then came out Solo.
Yeah, and then Solo came out, and all this would end up leading to a Roman Reigns victory here. Sami Zayn was not there. He was the one Bloodline member not there. Obviously, he has Syrian. He's of Syrian descent, which is a little iffy in Saudi Arabia, so you don't want him making the trip out there. But Roman Reigns would defeat Logan Paul with basically the help of the entire Bloodline. Even though Logan had a bunch of help out there himself. It kind of ended in the schmaz. All right, fine. But Roman Reigns is your winner here. Any other notes on Crown Jewel?
Can we just hope and pray for the love of God that after this contract expires, they don't re-up on it? Could you just think, if, for example, you and me, we both work for JCPenney. Could you imagine JCPenney signing a contract with a company or with a country for billions of dollars, knowing full well that they hate certain people that are very important to us that we employ? How fucking asinine is this? You have to worry about anybody who's a homosexual in your fucking company. You have to worry about anybody who has a different religious belief. You have to worry about anybody of a fucking different nationality belief. You have to hope and pray to God one of those fucking weird-ass spacesuits that women have to wear don't rip open. Is it really... Is fucking money really worth all of that?
Oh, and there were security concerns going into this weekend because of certain threats that have been made against Saudi Arabia. So, you know, it's always...
I mean, the threats are one thing, though, because they do the Tribute to the Troops show every year. What was it, the first year when they did Christmas from Baghdad? Like, there was literal, like, air raids going off around where they set up the show. I mean, WWE is used to that, but that's a wartime thing versus knowingly put yourself in a fucking situation because of how fucked up a country is.
Yeah. It's definitely a bad PR look. I'm not saying, and again, like I said before, you can look at it from a point where there is potentially some positive that can come out of it, but overall, it's a very questionable decision here. And we'll see now that we've got different people in charge. You know, will that change once this deal is up? We don't know. That's a question that's really up in the air.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by Bomb Media Production.